The government has started high-level discussions on possible safeguards should the conflict in Ukraine drag on and affect the Philippine economy. Recommendations from the cabinet include bumping up domestic food production and providing agricultural stakeholders with a fuel subsidy. And with restriction eased even further, more and more people are going back to physical workplaces. But a study from Colliers Philippines sees employers leaning more towards a hybrid work setup. It is Ash Wednesday, and Filipino Catholics return to church this Lenten season with less restrictions to worry about. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. Top government officials kicked off discussions on possible scenarios should the conflict in the Ukraine escalate further. Acting Palace spokesman Carlo Nograles said President Duterte has approved several recommendations from the cabinet to cushion any impact from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Among these recommendations are boosting local food production, particularly the country's rice buffer stock. The president has also approved fuel subsidies for farmers and fisherfolk. Malacanang is also asking Congress to review the oil deregulation law, particularly the provision that grants the government power to intervene in cases of prolonged fuel price hikes. And as for the country's official stand on the ongoing conflict, Nograles says the Philippines hopes for an immediate end to the hostilities.
We appeal for an immediate end to the unnecessary loss of life and call on the states involved to forge an accord that can help prevent a conflagration that could engulf a world still struggling to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic.
In line with that, the LTFRB is fast-tracking the release of fuel subsidies for PUV operators and drivers amid the quick rise in oil prices. LTFRB NCR Regional Director Attorney Zona Tamayo said operators and drivers will receive 6,500 pesos per unit under the fuel subsidy program. This payout will be coursed through the Pantawid Pasada cards issued by the Land Bank. And on the matter of fare hikes, Tamayo said that the LTFRB is still mulling this over, as it would also have an effect on the prices of commodities.
Pinipilit ho nating balansehin dahil ayaw naman ho natin na sa pagtaas po ng presyo ng krudo ay ang ating mga pasahero din po ang sasagot po ng pagtaas na yun sa pamamagitan ho ng pagtaas ng pamasahe. So binabalanse ho natin yan, nakipag-ugnayan din ho tayo sa NEDA para mapag-aralan din ho yung epekto kung sakasakali ho magtataas ng pamasahe, ano ho epekto nito sa pangkalahatan ho.
And one study finds a majority of employers in the Philippines seemingly in favor of a hybrid work setup, even as the country transitions to the lowest COVID-19 alert level. Shaila Francisco with the details.
This communications firm in Taguig remains vacant even after the government allowed 100% on-site capacity. Anna, one of its employees, said they are more productive under a work-from-home setup.
6 hours of my time and just stuck in the road. So now that 6 hours is translated to me being able to do the work and accomplish so much things.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for calling. My name is Alex. How may I help you today?
Some BPO employees are also able to save up while working at home.
Mas secure kasi nga dahil sa pandemic, mas sure ka na hindi ka magkakasakit. And then, for me, tingin ko mas matipid kasi hindi mo na kailangang mag-commute.
On the other hand, some employees, like those working in finance, are more inclined to work in office.
Mas gusto ko nasa office, mas mabilis yung action, mas mabilis yung interaction. And of course, yung dating ng documents, so nakikita ko kaagad.
A survey conducted by real estate services firm Collier show that majority will implement a hybrid setup this year. The Contact Center Association of the Philippines said it's the clients who are requesting for this kind of arrangement.
A client and say, okay, if we can retain good mix of people working on site and people working from home, that assures me of my service continuity to my customers, right? So despite of whatever things that will happen, this will definitely help us, right? Will help their customer. So there's no disruptions in.
If they prefer a hybrid setup, the Trade Department is encouraging employers to allow more on-site workers. This is to help the economy recover after a series of lockdowns.
Siyempre, lalabas ang tao, gagastos for transportation, and then kung meron silang gustong bilhin, siyempre kakain yung mga yan, hindi ba? And then whatever they need for the house, on their way home, pwede na nilang bilhin. Mas maraming gumagastos, mas maraming perang umiikot.
Although the pandemic still brings uncertainties, what's clear now is that there is a new normal when it comes to work. Shaila Francisco, VR1 News.
And the Supreme Court is being pressured to take another look at the anti-terror law. At least 26 groups of petitioners filed a joint motion for partial reconsideration earlier today. They aim for the High Court to reverse its ruling, which upholds most of the provisions under the controversial law. The appeal zeroes in on warrantless arrests and the power to designate a person or group as a terrorist. And in the PBA, more fans are expected in the stands today after the PBA allowed 100% capacity back in game venues. Let's check in on the situation this game day with Marty Bautista reporting to us live from the Big Dome in Quezon City. Hi, Marty. Good evening. How is the crowd situation over there? Is it already back to pre-pandemic levels?
Sean, full capacity has been allowed here in Araneta, but fans, it seems, are still taking their time before flocking in to watch their games live, much like before the pandemic. But still welcome development, especially for those who have waited months before seeing their favorite teams back in action. Recall that during the earlier games of the Governor's Cup, some seats were taped to ensure social distancing in the venue. Smart Araneta Coliseum can seat up to 16,000 fans, which is why PBA supporters couldn't contain their happiness upon knowing the latest development. Although full capacity is now allowed, viewers will still have to present their vaccination cards and government ID upon entrance. Food and beverages are now allowed as well in various areas inside. Spectators are reminded to keep their face masks on as soon as they finish eating. Sean, the first game today saw Northport Batang Pierre defeating Blackwater Bossing 116-103. And just as we're speaking, the second game between Meralco Bolts and Magnolia Hotshots are currently ongoing. Sean?
Right, thank you so much for that update and enjoy the game. Marty Bautista reporting to us live from the Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City. Let's move on and take a quick look at today's other top stories. GCash says it has been complying with the guidelines for safe and secure e-sabong operations. This comes on the back of dozens of allegedly missing e-sabong players over the last weeks. Senator Bato de la Rosa, who is part of the panel investigating this issue, claimed that 75% of transactions on the mobile wallet is from e-sabong activities. For its part, the National Police Force is now investigating some of its personnel that are allegedly involved in e-sabong. PNP records show 7 complaints involving police officers have been filed since January of this year. And devotees flocked to the Baclaran Church this Ash Wednesday, with lines stretching out to Redemptorist Road. The NCR and 38 other areas are now under COVID-19 Alert Level 1, where in-person religious gatherings are allowed. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.